राधे राधे।
राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे राधे। राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम श्यामा राधे राधे।
राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे राधे। राधे श्यामा श्याम श्यामा राधे राधे।
राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे राधे। राधे श्याम 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 राधे राधे।
राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे राधे। राधे श्याम 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 राधे राधे।
राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे राधे। राधे श्याम 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 राधे राधे।
राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे राधे। राधे श्याम श्याम राधे राधे।
कृष्ण ओ राधे कृष्ण ओ कृष्ण कृष्ण ओ राधे राधे राधे। राधे श्यामा ओ राधे श्यामा ओ श्यामा श्यामा ओ राधे राधे राधे। राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे राधे। राधे श्यामा श्याम श्यामा राधे राधे।
राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे राधे। राधे श्यामा श्याम श्यामा राधे राधे।
राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे राधे। राधे श्यामा श्याम श्यामा राधे राधे।
राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे राधे। राधे श्यामा श्याम श्यामा राधे राधे।
राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे राधे। राधे श्याम 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 राधे राधे।
राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे राधे। राधे श्याम 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 राधे राधे।
राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे राधे। राधे श्याम 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 राधे राधे।
राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे राधे। राधे श्याम 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 राधे राधे।
कृष्ण ओ राधे कृष्ण ओ कृष्ण कृष्ण ओ राधे राधे राधे। राधे श्यामा ओ राधे श्यामा ओ श्यामा श्यामा ओ राधे राधे राधे। राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे राधे। राधे श्यामा श्याम श्यामा राधे राधे।
राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे राधे। राधे श्यामा श्याम श्यामा राधे राधे।
राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे राधे। राधे श्यामा श्याम श्यामा राधे राधे।
राधे कृष्ण राधे राधे। राधे श्यामा श्याम श्यामा राधे राधे।
राधे श्यामा श्याम श्यामा राधे राधे। श्यामा श्याम श्यामा राधे राधे। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः। सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः।
Satsang. Let's begin with a few minutes of meditation together. And allow the awareness to merge with your breath. Don't try to change the breath or manipulate it in any way. Simply allow the awareness, the consciousness, to become one with the breath. Allow the awareness of the breath to be focused not in the lungs and rib cage, but rather to be focused as low in the abdomen as you can. So bring that awareness of the breath low in the abdomen. There's a place just a few inches below the belly button. Bring the awareness there. If thoughts come, if sounds or sensations from the outer world come, don't fight them off, but don't allow your awareness to hook into them. Just allow them to blow across your consciousness. Like clouds blow across a blue sky on a windy day. And just keep bringing the awareness back to the breath. As you exhale, on each exhalation, allow yourself to let go. Let go of another role you play. Another mask you wear. Another aspect of your identity. Another personality you wear. Another history you cling to. All of that which is not self. Allow it to just be breathed out. as you exhale, just keep letting go. Let go of the roles. Let go of the false masks. Let go of the drama of the identities and histories. And allow yourself to just sink deeper and freer into the core of yourself. Deeper and deeper, and freer on each exhalation. Let go of the responsibilities. Let go of the stresses and tension. Just breathe it all out and sink deeply into the core of the self. A place of light, of peace, of divinity. If you want, you can add a gentle mantra with it, chanted silently to the self. You can chant so on the inhalation and hum on the exhalation. So hum. So hum. It means I am that. I am that to which I pray. I am that upon which I meditate. I am that. I am one with all. So hum. So on the inhalations, hum as you let go more and more and sink deeper and deeper into the peace of the self on the exhalations. Gently bring the palms together in Namaste at chest level. And gently rub the palms of your hands against each other. Place the palms of your hands over your eyes. And whenever you're ready, gently open your eyes and lower your hands. Welcome. I'll begin as usual with a question or two that have come in advance, and then open it up to any questions that anyone here may have. One of the things that I have struggled with in India is the focus on the inner self when there is such poverty and destitution everywhere. How do I reconcile my personal spiritual practice in the daily face of people who could clearly benefit from less attention on me and more attention on them? So here's the really interesting irony. I need to work on me in order to actually be effective in helping others. There's a lot, I have no idea how many, but certainly hundreds of thousands, if not even millions, I don't know, charitable, well-meaning organizations in the world, governmental, non-governmental, religious-based, not religious-based, etc. But if you actually somehow counted every single volunteer and non-volunteer organization that was committed to helping others in the world, there's many of them. The reason, sadly, that we're actually still in the situation that we're in, because if you actually count up the number of people, the number of hours, the number of dollars that are being used to help serve people, feed people, educate people, treat people in hospitals, whatever it may be, there really should be no one left hungry, uneducated, sick. The dilemma is, there's a lot of dilemmas, but the dilemma that relates specifically to this question is that in a lot of the organizations, most of them, what you find is that because people haven't necessarily done their own personal work, no matter how well-meaning they may be, issues of ego, issues of competition, issues of jealousy, issues of attachment and stuckness come in. And way too many hours get wasted on actually aspects of the organization that have nothing to do with feeding people, clothing them, educating them, giving them toilets, whatever it may be. And everything only to do with getting the organization to function. Even if your goal is not enlightenment, even if your goal is simply, I want to be an effective, efficient tool for the divine on earth, you still should be doing your spiritual practice. Because it is that practice that actually clears you of that which makes you not a good servant for the divine. That ego, that desire. So you find things become lots and lots about whose name it is somewhere, whose name on the project, who gets credit for this, who's the one who gets to walk in and show it to the boss, who's the one who's highlighted somewhere, who gets the corner office, who gets this, who gets that. Is it done my way or your way? And that's the stuff that stops so much work from happening. And so our acute, fervent desire to be of benefit to those in need, even if we don't also have a desire for enlightenment or spiritual awakening, nonetheless, that desire to be of service requires us to do our own work, because otherwise we end up having what I call a spiritual heart attack. You know, in the physical body, we have blood vessels, and the blood vessels are what enable our blood to flow, and that's how the blood can get to our brain so it can function in different areas of our body so they can function. But if you end up with too much plaque in your blood vessels, right? This is why they say stop eating French fries. You know, you're going to have a heart attack. Stop with the fried food. This is creating plaque in your blood vessels. Well, if you get too much plaque in there, there's no more room for the blood to flow. And so that's where you get high blood pressure, right? Smaller size vessels because there's too much plaque, so it's higher pressure. And ultimately, no space for the blood to flow. Heart attack. The same thing happens spiritually. When I'm so full, stuck with me in all this, there's no space for the divine will to flow. And then I may be doing my best to do good work. Being full of me doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean that I'm selfish. Nothing. I really may have the purest and best intentions. But nonetheless, it becomes about my way, my thing, my whatever it may be. And I'm not able to actually have the divine flow come through. And so I'm not actually able to be as effective or efficient as I could be. And so, yeah, in the face of such despair, the instinct is, I won't sleep, forget meditate. I'm not even going to sleep. I'm not going to bathe. I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to see my friends. I'm not going to do anything because there is so much to do. And what you find is, yeah, you're doing a lot, but the impact, the benefit, the efficiency, the effectiveness of what you're doing is actually much less. Because you're not connected. You're not fully connected. And so this is why we have to do our practice. Now, there is also another fine line, which is, it shouldn't become all about me, whether it's in my workplace or whether it's in my meditation room. So the end goal of my spiritual practice is not enlightenment for me, bliss for me, peace for me, let everybody else just figure out themselves and take care of it. It's enlightenment, bliss, peace for me so that I can be an ego-free, judgment-free, jealousy-free, competition-free vessel for the divine. Hence we do it. But this is where it's so important to remember, A, it's not either or, and B, the end goal of spiritual practice is not just the spiritual experience. That's the means to an end, not the end in and of itself. That spiritual experience I have enables me to move through the world, whatever I'm doing. Whether I'm feeding hungry people, treating sick people, working in any one of dozens and dozens and dozens of different programs and projects, or whether I'm simply moving through the world sharing love and peace, giving smiles, giving hugs, because the world needs that too. So it also doesn't mean thou shalt form an NGO. Excuse me. It means when you're doing your practice and when the divine will flows through you and when you're connected, you know what to do. What to do becomes very obvious. A lot of times forming new organizations is actually not nearly as effective as giving your time and energy to an organization that already exists. But because we've got our own agenda and our own ego in there, it's like, well, no, I don't want to work for somebody else because I want it to all be about me. I want it to be my organization. I want to be the president. I want to be the founder. And so it's not as simple as form an NGO, form an organization. It's about free yourself. Free yourself of the stuff that keeps you stuck. Because then what you're going to find is, number one, you've got a lot more time. The amount of time in our life, mental time and actual time, that goes in the not self. So whether it's all of our shopping therapy, right? I'm bored, I'm depressed, I need to go shopping. Not because I actually need anything other than the fact that I'm feeling empty inside, and the only way that I know to fill myself is by buying things, or eating things, or drinking things. Wasted time, energy, money. Depleting the environment. If I actually were spiritually connected, then even if I found myself feeling bored, I wouldn't be bored for more than a split second, because immediately, I have free time, fantastic. I can do this, I can do that, I can do this. Rather than I need to shop, I need to eat chocolate cake, I need to go to the bar. Because I'm anxious and stressed. What all of that does, shopping therapy, eating therapy, drinking therapy, gambling therapy, promiscuity therapy, whatever type of non-functional therapy we are treating ourselves with, it all comes from one place, which is an experience of emptiness inside. An experience of not wanting to be here in this moment. Not the beautiful spaciousness through which grace flows, but the experience of false emptiness that comes from only knowing how to feel full from things outside. Only when people appreciate me, love me, treat me the way I want to be treated, only when I look the way I want to look, when I buy what I want to buy, I go where I want to go, I wear what I want, only then am I full. From that comes this experience of emptiness. And that leads us into harming our own bodies, harming our families, harming our environment, harming our planet, harming our brothers and sisters with whom we share it. Because your shopping therapy, drinking therapy, eating therapy is literally depleting resources in our environment. And it's preventing you from being a channel, a tool. And so the spiritual work serves us in many, many, many ways. And you find that if you're free of that stuff, you've got lots more time, lots more energy, lots more attention. Because as you're working, you're no longer distracted by the stuff that distracts most of us, by the mental games. You're no longer judging yourself and saying, oh my God, who do you think you are? How can you do this? You're not good enough to do this. You're not worthy enough to do this. You're going to fail. You're going to make a mistake. You're stupid. You're worthless. You're too old. You're too young. We become free of that. And so actually whatever we do becomes in line with, in the flow with, the divine flow. And so every minute, every moment becomes something that's helping the world. Not just what we do sitting at our desk or in our NGO or writing our checks or whatever it may be. But we actually become minute by minute, moment by moment, breath by breath, vehicles of transformation. First ourselves and then the world. So I'll take one more of the questions that came in advance, and then we'll open it up to any question that anyone here has. What is honesty? It's a great question. Well, I love it because obviously the questioner's not asking for a dictionary definition of it, not asking for me to simply say, well, it's when you tell the truth. And it's beautiful also because we were talking on the banks of Ganga today about Mahatma Gandhi and his life and his message, and so much of his message is about truthfulness. But not just truthfulness in what we speak, not just truthfulness in the way of I don't tell lies, but truthfulness in how we live, honesty in who we are, in action, in thought, and of course, in speech. Honesty is really when there's an alignment. Honesty is not just, I tell you something that's not a lie. That's important, but it's the beginning, not the end. Honesty is when I live in alignment with the truth. Dharma, righteousness. Those of you who've been coming to Satsang for a while know this story, but it's worth sharing again. When I was young, I was raised in a family and took in the teaching very, very deeply, even more so than the family I was raised in, of truth at all costs. Had to be truth. Truth was the highest ideal. And truth could solve everything. There was no situation in my mind that I could possibly conceive of in which truth was not the answer. And when I was 16, 17, my boyfriend, the first love of my life, who I was convinced was my soulmate in a way that one can only be convinced when you're 16 years old. And he's a year older than I was and was going off to college, and I was going into my last year of high school. And my dad, who is a divorce attorney, this is what he has spent decades doing, is helping couples dissolve their marriage. And we are having dinner one night. I can still picture the restaurant where we were sitting, and he says, "So what are you and Eric going to do when, next year he's going off to college and you're here?" And I said, "Well, we are going to have an open relationship. We are going to be together forever because, of course, we are soulmates, and so we'll always be together. But since we're far away, we're going to each be free to date other people. But we're going to tell each other about it. We're going to be completely honest." And my dad says, "Okay, let me understand this correctly." He says, "You're going to date other people, tell each other about it, and stay together forever." And I said, "Well, yeah, of course." And my dad, in one of the many hundreds of moments over the years that would just get him into Dad Hall of Fame, does not say to me, "You are crazy." He does not tell me, "Let me tell you what leads to divorce." But he says, "Well, that sounds very interesting. I look forward to hearing how that works out for you." And I love that story because it, 30 years down the line, is such a perfect example in my mind of where the truth at all costs is not necessarily in the service of a higher good. And when I came to India 8 years later, I learned that in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna speaks about righteous speech, tapas of speech, dharmic speech, in which he says that in order us to moments of realizing that what I'm about to say may not necessarily improve upon the silence. And being able to stay quiet. Being able to really ask ourselves, is this which I'm going to say also kind and beneficial? And if not speaking it. And so when we talk about honesty, which of course isn't exactly 100% synonymous with truthfulness, but nonetheless is quite close, we realize that we're being compelled to something that's other than just, "I won't speak a lie." But we're actually being compelled toward a fullness of word, of thought, of deed, of value, of intention, of attention, of ethics, such that everything's in line. What I think, what I speak, what I do. In psychology, there's a term called cognitive dissonance, which means that inside us, we find it very important for our our thoughts and our actions to be in concert. It's very difficult inside any of us to think one thing and do something else. So if I think that smoking cigarettes is wrong and bad for me, but I can't quit smoking, I'm going to change what I think. First, I'm going to try to change my action, probably. I'll try to quit. But if I find that I can't quit, or rather I don't want to quit enough, I get rid of that tension inside by changing my thought. Oh, it's not really so bad. Oh, that's all, this propaganda. My grandmother's 95 and smokes 3 packs of cigarettes a day. And, So I change my thought, which solves the tension inside. But it's not actually honest, and we know that. And so this is where honesty, real truthfulness, differs from simply alleviating my own internal tension of cognitive dissonance. Honesty will not permit me to say, oh, actually, it's not really so bad, just to alleviate my inner tension. Honesty will require me to say, it's really bad for me. I'm still doing it. I need to do something about that. Or I don't want to do something about that. It's really bad for me. I'm still doing it. And there it is. And to have the strength to sit with that. To have the strength to realize that. That's what honesty is. Honesty is, for example, I believe there should not be hunger in the world. I believe that every child has the right to eat food. I believe that we should protect and preserve our water. I believe that violence is wrong. But I'm not a vegetarian. But I don't want to call my hamburgers cow, I want to call them hamburgers. I don't want to call my hot dogs pigs, I want to call them hot dogs. Well, actually, a hamburger's a cow. Hot dog's a pig. But I don't want to call it that because I want to be able to engage in a behavior that my taste buds like, but that if I actually were honest about what it was and what the global impact of that industry is, I would be required to stop eating it. So honesty actually requires us to really be in alignment. And if we're going to still eat it, okay, I'm not sitting here as the moral police or the spiritual police. We have freedom to eat and buy whatever we want. But honesty requires us to at least be honest and say, I understand the global impact of what I'm eating. I understand that this hamburger is depriving 15 other people of their grain. I understand that this is contributing to global warming. I understand this is depleting our planet's water resources. But I like the way it tastes. I'm going to eat it anyway. And trying to look into the mirror with that. That's what honesty requires us to do. And there's no answer. As I said, I'm not the moral police to say here's what you should eat or drink or smoke or not smoke or do in your bedroom. None of that. But if we're going to live as honest people, we have to not push the truth of things away. And whether it's the truth of the sweatshops of women and children so that we can buy more, cheaper. Whether it's the truth of farmers and their families with cancer and birth defects because of the pesticides and chemicals in our agriculture, because we don't want to pay more for organic. Honesty requires us to allow it all in. We have the freedom to make whatever choice we want to make. There is no moral police that's going to throw you in jail for making a bad decision on that. You are your own moral police. Can you live in full honesty about everything you do, such that you're not concocting rationalizations? You're not changing thoughts that you know to be true just because of cognitive dissonance, just so that they can be in alignment with your actions that you enjoy. That's what full honesty is. And this is where, when you take leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, when he says things like, my life is my message, yeah, because he lived it. Because it wasn't one thing on stage in front of millions of people and another thing off stage in his house. My life is my message. And so when the message is one of truthfulness, the life is going to be one of truthfulness. And so if we're committed to honesty, to integrity, to dharma, we need to live honest lives. And no one can tell you what to do. We've got to answer to our own inner conscience, our own inner morality. But what is crucial is that we're at least honest with ourselves. That we call things what they are, that we see things as they are, that we don't say, don't tell me about it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know. We haven't taken birth to sit this one out. We've taken birth to be fully awake participants in the creation of our own life and the creation of the ripples that our life has on the rest of life. Not to close our eyes and push things away. And so honesty requires us to live with our eyes open, with our hearts open, participating actively in the creation of our life. I am happy to open it up if anyone has any questions. I'm happy to take them. Yeah.
With your permission, once just you said that charity, it is none of our question actually, because it is divine, Paramatma. But still, you said about that there is my request for that, you should not mind. So,
First of all, let me just back up 1 second. I didn't actually say not to do charity.
it's none of our question to discuss in Paramatma.
Absolutely, charity is a great thing to discuss. It just wasn't the question. The question was how to balance my own spiritual practice with work for the world. That was actually the question. The question was not about charity. The question was, with so much hunger and poverty and despair.
Disease to be removed in country.
I'm sorry?
Ignorance, poverty and disease to be removed in our country.
Yeah, how can I do my own meditation, my own spiritual practice when there's so much to do? That was what the question was. Yes.
I mean to say that what you are doing is really best, nowhere in the world. But still there are many steps. It can remove total poverty, ignorance and disease. Thank you.
Absolutely. There's lots of steps to remove ignorance, poverty, and disease. And if by any chance so much is insinuated or suggested that there might not be, that was not my intention at all. My intention was that in order to take those steps and be effective in those steps, we need to be clear. Because otherwise what happens is, if I'm moving in ignorance, I have a vision. This is how things should be done. But I'm not open to messages, either from colleagues, co-workers, other people in the field, or from the universe. We all have times in our life, I'm sure, if we think and go back, in which the universe was sending you a message that said, do this differently. But we didn't listen because something in our mind was stuck and attached with, no, 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 I want it to be this way. And we ended up suffering the consequences. The universe sends us messages, but a lot of times in our life, we're very stuck and we don't hear them. We hear messages. Do this, do this, do this, or don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Or do it, but do it differently. Our own intuition, our own inner voice. But we frequently don't listen to it. And so in order to be able to really be able to work for the world, because the goal of service is not, you should live like I live. We're not trying to create cookie cutters. You should make the choices I make. No. You should have the religion I have. No. You should do the job I do. No. In order to work, what we have to realize is that as agents of change, as bringers of peace or food or water or whatever we're working for, that's going to be different wherever we turn. Wherever you turn. Even if your goal is to teach 10 people math, let's say. Take something very, very simple. Forget alleviating global ignorance for a moment. Let's just talk about teaching 10 people math. You're going to have to teach them in 10 different ways if you really want them to learn. Each of them is going to have a slightly different background, a slightly different mindset. And the exact same answer is not going to work everywhere. And we know this in the field.
It should be in the mutual.
I'm sorry?
That should be in the mutual. The student also want to learn that then. Right?
Of course. Absolutely. If people don't want help, we're not the moral police, as I said. We're not the ethical police. We're not the spiritual police. Our job is to be vehicles, tools in the divine's hands. Look, the divine brings light, warmth, water, fruit, trees, right? I mean, everything that we have on earth, if you look at nature, everything in nature gives and gives and gives and gives in its own way. Our goal in life is to give and give and give in our way. But the apple tree gives in one way. The orange tree gives in a different way. The oak tree gives in a different way. The river gives in a different way. The sun gives in a different way. Everything gives based on what it is. Our problem is we don't know who we are. Everything in nature, I take a lot of lessons and truth from nature, and everything in nature knows what to do because it knows who it is, what it is. If a dog follows a bird up to the top of a building and the bird flies off, the dog does not jump off. Intuitively, the dog understands, I don't have wings. Even if it's never seen a mirror, it knows I'm not a bird. That one flew, I don't fly. It knows what it is. Our problem is we're trying to understand who we are based on what we do. So first we start with doing and then try to understand who am I by doing. I got this job or I want that job. If I have that job, or I can do this, then I will feel powerful, worthy, enough. Then I will be the CEO, I will be the president, I will be this, I will be that. But that's actually the opposite direction. And this is where everybody gets stuck. How do I know who I am based on what I do? Well, you can't. You do based on who you are, which is why we have to first know who we are. But most of the world, if you go through it and you say to people, who are you? Oh, I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer, I'm a lawyer, I run an NGO. We base who we are on what we do. Or on our relationships. I'm so-and-so's mother, so-and-so's wife, so-and-so's husband. We base it on what we have. I'm rich, I'm poor. I'm educated, I'm not educated. I'm beautiful, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm thin. The goal is to know who we are so we know what to do. When we know what to do, everything we do, regardless of whether we do it as a volunteer, whether we do it as a non-volunteer, whether we do it as a company, whether we do it in an NGO, wherever it is, whatever it is, it will be of service. Because who we are is divine. And that divinity embodied is of itself service. But not everyone is meant to work in the same way. We can't have all apple trees or all orange trees or all oak trees or only rivers and no mountains. We need all of the aspects. You can't have only winter, no summer. We need the seasons. I've got, 2 kidneys, 1 liver, 1 spleen. I need them all. I can't have my spleen deciding that, I pay more attention to my liver and so it should become one. Right? I need everything, every part of my body doing what it does in order for me to be healthy. In the same way in the world needs each of us to be doing who we are. And that's when we'll know what to do. Whether it's teaching, whether it's serving, whether it's whatever it is. Whatever it may be, it will be of service. Because everything in nature is of service. By being itself. Have a beautiful rest of your evening. We'll see you all tomorrow. And if you have any questions that you didn't get a chance to ask tonight and you're not going to be able to stay back till tomorrow, or you feel shy to ask in public, or whatever it may be, feel free to get them to Lori and she will get them to me in advance in writing. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your evening.